I stood in the shadows of our balcony, watching my husband pour her the vintage wine we saved for our anniversary. He had no idea I was documenting every second of his betrayal in our own garden. By the time the sun rises, he'll learn that silence was my deadliest weapon. It was 11:40 at night. The bottle was a 2001 Barolo we bought the week we got engaged. 19 years of marriage and $4.2 million in shared assets sat between us that night. He was about to hand a stranger the taste of all of it. Melvin didn't know I was home. He thought I was on a flight to my sister's in Lakewood, 2 states away. My phone was propped on the balcony rail, red light on, recording the whole garden below. There's a name for the woman in the white dress by our fountain. We'll get to Paula. She isn't even the worst part of tonight. By the end, you'll know the forged signature he thought I'd never find, the one phone call that started at midnight, and the single message that reached him at dawn with nothing left in his name. I didn't scream. I refilled the wine glass I'd poured for myself and kept watching. He lit the candles on the garden table, our table, the one we bought for our 10th anniversary when he swore he'd never look at anyone else. Paula laughed at something he said and touched his arm. He leaned in like he'd done it 100 times. He had. I just hadn't seen it until now. I zoomed the camera in on the label as he tilted the bottle. The 2001. He knew exactly what that bottle meant. He chose it anyway. Then I put my glass down, opened the balcony door, and walked downstairs into my own garden. And what the two of us set in motion before sunrise still doesn't feel real. Hit like and subscribe so you don't miss the ending, and tell us in the comments where you're watching from. The gate creaked when I stepped onto the grass. Both of them turned. "Jean," Melvin said, the bottle froze in his hand. I thought you left." "I did leave," I said. "Then I came back. Hello, Paula." Her name landed on her face like cold water. She looked at Melvin, he looked at the fountain. "You two have met," I said. "Or you haven't, help me out." "This is Paula, from the office," he said. "We were just going over the Hendricks account." I looked at the 2 candles, the 2 glasses, the bottle from our engagement. "The Hendricks account," I said, "at midnight, with the 2001. He didn't answer. She reached for her purse. "Stay," I told her, and something in my voice made her sit back down. "You drove all the way out here. Finish the wine." Melvin set the bottle down too hard. Red splashed the white tablecloth. "It's not what you think, Jean." "Then tell me what it is." I pulled out the 3rd chair and sat. "I've got all night. My flight's not until I say so." That's when he started building the lie. And I let him build it as high as he wanted. He said Paula was his new analyst. He said they'd been slammed with a quarterly filing. He said the wine was hers, a gift she brought, and he was just being polite by opening it. I nodded along. "So the bottle from our wine cellar that only opens with the key in your nightstand, she brought that from home." His mouth opened and closed. Paula stood up again. "I should go." "You should," I agreed. "But first," I took out my phone, tapped the screen, and set it on the table facing him. The recording played back. His own voice from 20 minutes ago floated up from the little speaker. "I already told the lawyer. Once the divorce clears, the house goes on the market and we split for the coast. She'll never see it coming." The garden went silent. Even the fountain seemed quieter. Paula's face changed. She looked at him, not me. "You told me you were already separated," she said. "I am," he said quickly. "Basically." "Basically," I repeated. I picked up the phone and turned it off. "We're not separated, Paula. We had breakfast together yesterday." He kissed me at the door. She grabbed her purse for real this time and walked toward the gate. Melvin called her name once. She didn't turn around. The gate banged shut. Now it was just the 2 of us and a spilled bottle of Barolo. "You recorded me," he said. His voice had gone flat. "In my own home." "Our home," I said, "and yes, I did." "That won't hold up anywhere." "You can't use that." "I don't need it to hold up anywhere," I said. "I just needed to hear you say it out loud. And I needed her to hear it too." He stepped toward me. "What did you do, Jean?" I stood, brushed off my skirt, and picked up my empty glass. "Nothing yet. I came down to say hello, that's all." That was a lie, but he'd built a bigger one, so I felt we were even. I walked back up to the balcony and left him standing in the wreck of his own dinner. Through the glass door, I watched him pace the garden, phone pressed to his ear, calling her, calling her, calling her. She didn't pick up. Good. I needed him distracted and I needed him alone. Both boxes checked before midnight. Inside, I sat at my desk and opened the folder I'd been building for 11 weeks. It started the day I found a second phone charging behind his golf bag, 41 screenshots, bank alerts he thought he'd hidden, a hotel receipt from a conference in a city with no conference, and the deed to the house, which he'd forgotten was in both our names. He forgot a lot of things when he was busy feeling clever. My phone buzzed. A text from him, from 20 feet below me in the garden. "We need to talk. Come down." I typed back one word, "Busy." I heard the back door open, then his footsteps on the stairs, fast and heavy. He came into the office without knocking. His shirt was untucked and there was wine on his collar. "Delete it," he said, "the recording. Right now, while I watch." I didn't move from the desk. No. "Jean, I swear, if that gets out, it ruins me. My clients, the firm, all of it. You should have thought about your clients before you opened our engagement wine for your analyst." He came around the desk. I slid the folder in front of me and opened it flat so he could see the top page. It was the hotel receipt. 2 nights, 1 king room, a city 300 miles away. His name printed at the top. The dates matched the leadership retreat he told me about in March. He stared at it. "Where did you get that?" "You left it in your golf bag," I said. "Behind the second phone, the one you charge behind the clubs." His hand went to his pocket on instinct. I already had a photo of that phone's lock screen. Paula's name, a heart, a message preview. "You've been going through my things," he said, like that was the crime here. "I've been paying attention," I said. "There's a difference." He grabbed the receipt off the desk and crumpled it in his fist. I let him. It was a copy. I had 4 more. "You get nothing," he said, breathing hard. "You hear me? This is my house, my money, my name on the firm. You walk away with what you came in with, which was nothing." I looked up at him. "Is that a threat or a plan?" "It's a fact." "Okay," I said, and turned back to my screen. "Then go sleep on your fact. We'll see how it holds in the morning." He stood there another few seconds, waiting for me to beg or cry. I did neither. Eventually, he threw the crumpled receipt on the floor and walked out. I heard him go down to the garden again, not the bedroom, away from me. Perfect. Then I called the one person who told me 3 years ago to save every receipt. She picked up on the second ring even though it was past midnight. "Jean," Francis said, "tell me it's happening." "It's happening," I said. "He opened the 2001 tonight." "For her." Francis went quiet for a second, then I heard her chair roll back and her laptop open. "Okay," she said, "you still have the folder." "Every page. And the accounts are still joint. He never moved his half out." "He thinks he's the smart one," I said. "He never touched a thing." "Then listen to me carefully," Francis said. "We have a window and it closes when he wakes up tomorrow. Are you ready to move?" Down in the garden, Melvin was still pacing, still calling a woman who'd already blocked his number. He toasted the empty air with the last of the Barolo, alone, celebrating a future he thought he'd already won. "I'm ready," I said. I sat down at the desk and pulled the folder closer. "Then don't hang up," Francis said. "We start now." Francis stayed on the line while I opened the first account. "Start with the money market," she said. "The joint one at Coastal, that's the one he watches least." I logged in, the balance loaded, $612,000. "He put the bonus in there in March," I said. "He forgot I have the login." "He forgot a lot of things," Francis said. "Move half, you're half. Nothing more or a judge calls it hiding." I typed the transfer to the account she'd set up for me in April. My own name, my own bank, 2 states away in Lakewood. I hit confirm, then I heard the office door open again. Melvin stood in the doorway. He'd changed his shirt. "Who are you talking to at 1 in the morning?" I pressed the phone to my shoulder. "My sister. She's picking me up at the airport tomorrow." "You canceled that flight," he said. "I checked the app. We share the account, remember?" "So we do," I said. "Funny how sharing works when it's your idea." He crossed the room and looked at my screen. I'd already closed the tab. All he saw was my email. "Whatever you think you're doing," he said, "stop. We can fix this quietly. No lawyers, no mess." "You already have a lawyer, Melvin. You said so in the garden. I have the recording." His jaw tightened. That was for her, to keep her happy. I was never going to actually do it. "So you lied to her and you lied to me," I said. "At least you're consistent." He put both hands on my desk and leaned down. I want that phone. Give it to me. No. Jean. You had a business dinner with a bottle from our engagement, I said. Go finish your Barolo. It's getting warm. He straightened up, breathing hard, and walked out again. This time he slammed the door. Back on the line, Frances hadn't made a sound. He wants the phone, she said finally. He can want. Good. Keep it charging and keep a copy in the cloud. Now open the brokerage. The brokerage held our stock, $1.4 million, built over 19 years. Frances walked me through the split, line by line, while I moved my half into the new account. This isn't hiding, she said, before I could ask. This is you taking what's already yours before he can lock you out. There's a difference, and I'll say it to any judge in the county. I asked her the question anyway. It doesn't bother you. Doing this while he's downstairs. He poured another woman your anniversary wine, she said. Ask me again tomorrow. I still won't be bothered. I finished the brokerage transfer at 1:40 a.m., half of it, gone from the joint account, sitting in mine. The office door banged open a third time. Melvin had his own phone out, screen glowing in his hand. There's a pending transfer on the coastal account, he said. 6 figures. What did you do? I moved my half, I said. You can move yours, it's still sitting there. He jabbed at his phone, trying to reverse it. His thumb stabbed the screen again and again. Nothing happened. Why can't I cancel it, he said. His voice climbed. Why is it grayed out? Because a completed transfer can't be canceled, Frances said, loud enough through my speaker for him to hear. Hello, Melvin. I'm the lawyer you told your girlfriend about. Different one, though. He froze. Who is that? That's the person who's going to be sitting across from you in court, I said. Say hi. She's recording, same as me. He looked at the phone in my hand like it had teeth. Then he backed out of the room without another word. I heard him downstairs, dialing his own bank, demanding a supervisor at 2 in the morning. The supervisor told him what Frances already had. The money was mine, and it was gone. Then my phone lit up with a text. Not from Melvin, from Paula. He's lying to you too. Call me. I read it out loud to Frances. Do not meet her tonight, Frances said. She could be recording for him. Or she could be done with him, I said. Same as me. I texted back one line. Front gate, 10 minutes, come alone. Paula's car pulled up at the curb 8 minutes later. I went down and met her at the gate. Melvin's silhouette moved behind the garden hedge, watching, too far to hear. He told me you two were finished a year ago, Paula said. He showed me a separation agreement, on his phone. Show me. She pulled it up. It was a real document, formatted like a legal filing. My name was on it. My signature was on it. I had never seen it before in my life. That's forged, I said. That's not my signature. Look at the Q in Quincy. Mine loops, that one doesn't. Her face went pale under the streetlight. He said the house was already half mine. He said we'd live there after. He said the same thing to a lawyer he's paying to make me disappear, I said. You're not his future, Paula. You're his cover story. Behind the hedge, Melvin stepped out. Jean, get away from her. Both of us turned. He walked up the driveway fast. She showed me the fake agreement, Melvin, I said. The one with my forged signature. That's a felony in this state. Frances told me the statute an hour ago. He stopped walking. You don't have that. Paula held up her phone. I have it. He sent it to me in a text. For the first time all night, Melvin looked afraid. Not angry, afraid. Paula, don't, he said. Delete that, please. She looked at him, then at me. Then she forwarded the whole thread to my number and put her phone away. Now you both have it, she said. She got in her car and drove off. Melvin and I stood alone in the driveway at 2 in the morning. My phone buzzed with the forwarded thread, 40 messages, photos, the fake agreement, all of it now mine. You have no idea what you just started, he said. I have every idea, I said. I've had 11 weeks to plan it. You had 1 bottle of wine. I walked back inside and locked the door behind me. He stood in the driveway another full minute before I heard his key scratch at the lock. It didn't turn. Frances had told me to change nothing yet, so I hadn't, but I'd bolted it from inside. He knocked, then he pounded. Jean, open the door, this is my house. It's late, I called back. You'll wake the neighbors. We wouldn't want them to talk. The pounding stopped. I went back up to the office. Francis was still on the line, patient as ever. He's locked out of the front, I told her. He forged my signature. Paula sent me everything. Forward it to me now, Francis said. The forgery changes the whole game. That's not divorce anymore. That's fraud. A judge freezes assets over fraud. I forwarded the thread. I heard her open each file on her end, one by one. Jean, she said slowly, the agreement is dated 14 months ago. Do you know what that means? Tell me. It means he's been planning this for over a year. The wine tonight wasn't the start. It was the celebration. I sat with the phone in my lap for a moment. 14 months. We'd taken a trip to the lake in that window. He'd held my hand on the dock and told me he couldn't imagine growing old with anyone else. He'd already signed my name away by then. Jean, you still there? I'm here, I said. Keep going, what's next? Next is the deed, Francis said. But not tonight. The deed needs daylight and a notary. We do it the second the county office opens at 8. Downstairs, the pounding started again. Then Melvin's voice, closer this time. He'd gone around to the back door, the one to the garden. The one he'd left unlocked when he came out to pour the wine. I heard the latch click. He was inside. Francis, I said quietly, he's in the house. Stay on the line, she said. Do not delete anything. Do not raise your voice. Let him talk. Let him say more stupid things while I'm listening. His footsteps came up the stairs. Slow this time. He appeared in the doorway and his face had changed again. Softer. The angry husband was gone. Now came the charming one. Jean, he said gently. Baby, let's not do this. 19 years. We can fix anything. Say her name, I said. What? Say the name of the woman you poured our wine for. Out loud. Then tell me we can fix anything. He didn't say it. He couldn't. That's what I thought, I said. I turned back to my screen and opened the next account. Sit down, Melvin. You're going to want to see this part. Francis, he's listening now. Go ahead and tell him what happens at 8. At 8, Francis said through the speaker, the county recorder's office opens. Your wife files an emergency motion. Every joint asset freezes, while a judge reviews the forged separation agreement you signed her name to. Melvin sat down in the chair across from my desk. He hadn't been invited. He sat anyway. There's no forged agreement, he said. Paula sent it to both of us an hour ago, I said. You texted it to her yourself. It has a timestamp. It has your number on it. He rubbed his face with both hands. Okay, let's talk numbers. What do you want? Half, take half. We keep it quiet, no filing, no fraud on my record. You already tried to give me half, I said. On a document I never signed. Now you want to negotiate the same deal for real. Jean, please. Francis, I said, what does the fraud change? It changes the split, she said. In this state, proven marital fraud lets the court weight the division. He doesn't walk away with half of anything. He walks away with what the judge decides, and judges do not like forged signatures. Melvin's head came up. That's not, you can't just take everything. I'm not taking anything, I said. You handed it to me when you forged my name. I'm just holding the paper now. He stood up fast and the chair tipped over behind him. You think you're so clever, you forget I built this. The firm, the house, every dollar came from my work. The house came from a loan we both signed, I said. The firm came from a $200,000 seed my father gave you in 2007. You never paid it back. I have the check. That stopped him. You don't have that check. I opened the folder and slid a photocopy across the desk, my father's handwriting. The memo line read Melvin firm startup to repay. Dated, signed, never honored. He stared at it. Your father's dead. He is, I said. He died trusting you. That's the part I'll never forgive. For a moment, the room was very quiet. My father had cosigned that loan on a Tuesday. He wore his brown cardigan that day and told Melvin to treat me right or answer to him. He'd been gone 6 years. Melvin had spent every one of them spending money my father gave him. Put that away, Melvin said, quieter now. That has nothing to do with tonight. It has everything to do with tonight, Francis cut in. That check makes his firm partly a marital asset she funded. Thank you for keeping it, Jean. Melvin turned on the phone like it was a person. Stay out of my marriage. You invited a stranger into your garden, Francis said. You ended the privacy yourself. He grabbed the copy of the check off the desk and tore it in half. Then in half again. He threw the pieces on the floor with the crumpled hotel receipt. I let him. "That's 3 copies you've destroyed tonight," I said. "I have the originals in a deposit box. You keep tearing paper. It keeps not helping you." He looked at the torn pieces at his feet, then something shifted in his face. He walked to the window, pulled out his phone, and made a call. "It's Melvin," he said. "I need you at the house. Now, Jean's doing something with the accounts. Bring whatever you have to stop it." It was his lawyer, the real one, the one he'd been paying for 14 months to erase me. "He's calling reinforcements," I said to Frances. "Good," she said. "Let him. That man can't undo a completed transfer at 3 in the morning any more than the bank could. But I'd love him to try. It puts his name on the fraud, too." Melvin hung up. "He's on his way. He'll fix this. You've overstepped, Jean, way over." "Then we'll wait for him together," I said. "Sit down, there's coffee." "You'll want to be sharp when your own lawyer sees the agreement you forged." He didn't sit. He paced the office, phone in hand, watching the driveway for headlights. While he paced, I opened the account I'd been saving for last. The credit line. The one he'd opened 8 months ago in both our names without telling me and drawn down to the tune of $180,000. "Frances," I said. "The credit line." He maxed it. "On what?" she asked. I clicked through the charges. A ring from a jeweler in the city, a deposit on a beach rental for 2. A private flight, all in the last 4 months, all on a line of credit with my name on it that I never signed for either. "He bought her a ring," I said out loud, "with a loan in my name." Melvin stopped pacing. $11,000, I read off the screen. "A jeweler downtown, March 4th. Was that before or after you held my hand at the lake, Melvin?" He didn't answer. The headlights swung into the driveway. His lawyer had arrived. "Let him in," Frances said. "And Jean, put me on speaker the whole time. I want to hear every word this man says." I went downstairs and opened the front door. The lawyer stood on the step with a briefcase and a coat thrown over pajamas. Behind him, another car was pulling up to the curb. It was Paula, again. She got out and walked up the driveway toward all 3 of us. "I couldn't sleep," she said. "And I want my deposit back. The ring, he told me it was already paid off." The lawyer looked at Melvin. Melvin looked at the ground. And I stood in my own doorway at 3 in the morning, holding a phone with Frances on it, watching the whole thing he'd built start to come apart on my front step. "Everybody inside," Melvin said. "We are not doing this on the lawn." We went to the kitchen. I set my phone on the counter, Frances still listening. The lawyer opened his briefcase. Paula stood by the door with her arms crossed. "Show me what she filed," the lawyer said. "She hasn't filed yet," Melvin said. "That's why you're here." "Stop her before 8. The lawyer looked at me. "What do you have?" I slid my own phone toward him and played nothing. Instead, I read from the screen. "A separation agreement dated 14 months ago, my forged signature. Sent from your client's phone to hers tonight. Want to see the queue? Mine loops. This one doesn't." He took the phone and read. His face didn't move, but his shoulders dropped an inch. He set the phone down slowly. "Melvin," he said. "You told me she signed this." "She did. She's standing right here saying she didn't, and the signature's wrong." The lawyer closed his briefcase. "I don't touch forgery. I told you that in March." "You're my lawyer," Melvin said. "You work for me." "Not on this," he said. He picked up his coat. "Do not file anything under my name. Do not use the agreement. If a judge sees it, you go from a divorce to a criminal charge." He nodded at me. "Ma'am." Then he walked out, and the front door clicked shut behind him. Now it was Melvin, Paula, and me in my kitchen at 3:20 in the morning. Paula spoke first. "I want the ring money back. 11,000 tonight." "There is no money," I said. "The ring was bought on a credit line in my name. I'm not paying 11,000 for a ring he gave you." She turned to Melvin. "You said it was yours. You said everything was yours." "It is mine," he said weakly. "Show her the account, Melvin," I said. "Log in, right now in front of both of us. Show Paula the balance you promised her." He didn't move. "He can't," I said. "It's gone. I moved my half. The credit line is maxed. The firm has my father's money buried in it. There is no beach house, Paula. There is no coast. There is a man who forged his wife's name and lost." Paula picked up her purse for the third time that night. At the door, she stopped and looked back at him. "You told me she was cold," Paula said. "You told me she'd never fight for you." She looked at me. "You're not cold. You're just done." Then she left too. Melvin sank into a kitchen chair, his lawyer gone, his girlfriend gone, his account split, and the county office still 5 hours from opening. "Please," he said. "Jean, what do I do?" "You wait," I said. I picked up my phone off the counter. "Francis, he's out of moves. What time do we file?" 8 sharp, she said. "Get some sleep, Jean. He can't touch anything now. Let him sit with it." I made myself tea and took it upstairs. Melvin stayed at the kitchen table in the dark, alone, in the house he'd toasted to a stranger 4 hours before. I locked the office door and set 2 alarms, one for 7, one for the sunrise. The sunrise alarm went off at 5:52. I was already awake. I came downstairs and Melvin was standing in the garden. Same clothes. The candles had burned out. The 2001 bottle lay on its side in the grass, empty. He saw me through the glass and came inside fast. "I've been thinking," he said. "We freeze everything. Nobody files anything. We go to counseling. We fix this. You spent the night in the garden rehearsing that." 19 years, Jean. 14 months, I said. "That's how long the forged agreement's been dated. You lost the other 5 years and changed somewhere around then." He changed tactics. "Fine, then let's be adults. I'll buy you out of the house. Fair market, you take the cash, I keep the property, clean." "You don't have cash," I said. "You have a maxed credit line and a firm that owes my father's estate $200,000. What are you buying me out with?" "I'll get a bridge loan." "On what collateral? The house is frozen at 8, try again." He slammed his hand on the counter. "You can't freeze my own house." "I can freeze OUR house," I said. "Both names. You put my name on the deed in 2009 so we'd get the better rate. Remember, you were the smart one." His face went gray. He'd forgotten that too. At 6:40 his phone rang. He looked at the screen and stepped into the hall. I followed and stood in the doorway where he could see me. "No," he said into the phone. "No, don't list it yet." I said, "Don't, Paula, listen to me." I raised my eyebrows. He hung up. "That was nothing." "That was Paula telling you she's listing something," I said. "What does she have to list?" "Nothing." I went back to the kitchen and opened my laptop. It took 90 seconds. Paula had posted the ring for sale online at 6:15 that morning. $11,000 ring, listed at 9, her name on the account. A photo of it on her hand. I turned the screen toward him when he came in. "She's selling the ring you bought with my credit line. That's the collateral you were going to use for my buyout. Gone by lunch." He grabbed for his phone to call her again. I let him. She didn't pick up. At 6:55 he went upstairs. I followed. He was in the closet on his knees, spinning the dial on the floor safe. "What are you doing?" I said. "Getting my things, Jean. Before your lawyer freezes those too." The safe clicked open. Inside were his watches, a roll of cash, and a small velvet box I'd never seen. I picked up the velvet box before he could. Inside was a second ring, bigger than Paula's. "2 rings," I said. "One for the girlfriend, one for the wife you were leaving, or is this a third woman I haven't met?" He grabbed for it. I stepped back. "Give it to me," he said. "It came from the joint credit line, same as hers, so it's community property." "It stays." I set it on the dresser. "Take your watches, leave the evidence." He shoveled the watches into a bag. I photographed the open safe first, the cash, both rings, all of it while he watched. "Why are you taking pictures?" he said. "Because in an hour you'll say the safe was empty," I said. "Now it's time-stamped. Smile." He zipped the bag and pushed past me down the stairs. I let him. I had the photos. He had a bag of watches and nowhere to go. Downstairs he grabbed the house phone. "I'm calling the police." "You've locked me out of my own accounts. That's theft." "Go ahead," I said. "Tell them your wife moved her half of a joint account. Then I'll show them the forged separation agreement with my name on it. Which one of us do you think leaves in the car?" He held the phone a moment longer. Then he set it down. "That's what I thought," I said. "The police are a bad idea for the man who committed the felony. Sit down." He sat. At 7:15 Frances arrived at the house in person. She had a folder thicker than mine and 2 coffees. She handed one to me and none to Melvin. We file at 8, she told him, like he was a piece of furniture. You have 45 minutes to say something that changes my client's mind. I've never seen it work, but you're welcome to try. This is between me and my wife, Melvin said. It stopped being private when you forged her name, Frances said. She set a single page on the table in front of him. This is the fraud statute. Read the top paragraph out loud. He didn't. Then I'll summarize, she said. Forging a spouse's signature on a legal document to alter marital assets. Class D felony, 2 to 5 years. Now, do you still want to fight the deed, or do you want to talk about a settlement that keeps you out of a courtroom with a judge? Melvin sat down slowly. The fight was leaking out of him by the minute. What settlement? He said. You sign the house to her, Frances said. You take your half of what's left in the accounts, which is what she already left you. You repay the estate loan out of your share of the firm, and we don't hand the forged agreement to the district attorney. That's not a settlement, he said. That's a surrender. It's the best morning of your life and you don't know it yet, Frances said. The alternative is she files the fraud at 8, and you explain the forged signature to a judge and to the state bar, because your lawyer already ran when he saw it. Melvin looked at me. You'd really do that? Send me to jail. You forged my name while my father's check was still uncashed in your firm's history, I said. I'm not sending you anywhere. You walked yourself there. At 7:50 his phone buzzed again. He looked at it and went still. What? I said. He turned the screen around. It was a text from Paula. It read, told your wife the truth, told your partners too, check your email. Melvin opened his email with a shaking thumb. I watched his face fall in real time. She sent it to the whole firm, he whispered. The agreement, the ring. All of it to every partner. His phone rang before he could answer. The screen showed the firm's name. His hand shook as he took it. It's not no, he said into the phone. That's a personal matter. It has nothing to do with He stopped. Listened. His face crumpled. You can't suspend me over an email. I built half this hello. He lowered the phone. They suspended me, effective now, pending review. Then you don't have a firm to hide the money in anymore, Frances said, not unkindly. That changes the math again. Jean, we should file the fraud now. His partners will want distance from it, and distance means they'll cooperate. Wait, Melvin said. Wait. If the fraud goes public, I lose the firm, I lose my license, I lose everything. Yes, I said. That's generally how it works. He put both hands flat on the table like he was holding it down. What do you want? Just tell me. I'll sign anything. I looked at the clock. 7:54, 6 minutes to 8. I want the house, I said. I want my father's $200,000 back to his estate. I want the credit line in my name closed and paid from your half. And I want you out by tonight. Done, he said. Done, all of it. Please don't file the fraud. Frances slid a pen across the table. Then sign the deed transfer first, before 8, on paper with me as witness before you can change your mind. Melvin picked up the pen. His hand hovered over the line. Then, at 7:57, headlights swung into the driveway again. A car door slammed. Fast footsteps up the walk. The front door opened without a knock. Paula stood in my hallway, still in last night's dress, holding a manila envelope. Don't sign anything yet, she said, breathing hard. Not until you both see what's in here, because he lied to me about a lot more than the house. She dropped the envelope on the kitchen table between us. Melvin went white. Paula, don't. Open it, Paula said to me. You're going to want to see this before he signs a single thing. I opened the envelope at 7:58, 2 minutes before 8. Inside were bank statements, an account in Melvin's name only, not joint. Not one I'd ever seen. Balance, $340,000. Under the statements was a deed. A lake cabin 200 miles north, bought 3 years ago. His name alone, paid in cash. I stopped breathing for a second, the lake. He'd taken me there 3 summers back. He held my hand on the dock and told me he couldn't imagine growing old anywhere else. He said we couldn't afford a place of our own up there, not yet, maybe someday. He already owned one. He'd bought it 2 months before that trip. He walked me along the shore of a lake where he already had a house I'd never see and told me to be patient. I set the deed on the table very gently. I didn't slam it. I didn't raise my voice. You bought a cabin at the lake, I said, before you took me there, while you told me we couldn't afford it. Jean. You held my hand on that dock. My voice stayed level. You already had the keys in your pocket. Frances picked up the statements and flipped through them fast. This account's been fed for 3 years, she said. Small transfers, under the reporting line each time. He's been siphoning marital income into a private account since before Paula existed. Paula spoke from the doorway. I found the deed in his glove box last week. That's when I started wondering what else he lied about. He told me the cabin was ours. Yours and his are the same lie, just different women. Melvin stood up. That account is mine. I earned it. It has nothing to do with either of you. It has everything to do with me, I said. It's marital income you hid. Frances just said so did the statements, so did the timing. It's protected, he said. It's in my name, you can't touch it. Frances laughed once, short. Hidden accounts aren't protected. They're the opposite. A judge who sees $340,000 siphoned in subreporting increments doesn't split it down the middle. He hands it to the spouse who was lied to and asks the other one why he shouldn't add sanctions. Melvin lunged for the deed. I put my hand flat on it. No, I said. This one stays on the table. Give it to me, Jean. You want to reach across your wife and grab a deed you hid for 3 years, I said, in front of your lawyer's replacement and the girlfriend you also lied to. Sit down. He sat, his hands were shaking now. Frances checked the clock. 8:01. The county office is open, she said. Jean, we can file the freeze on everything now, including this account and the cabin, or what, Melvin said. Or he signs everything over this minute and we skip the courtroom, Frances said. The house. The hidden account. The cabin. My father's estate loan repaid in full. And in exchange, my client does not walk this forged agreement and these siphoned statements into the district attorney's office. That's not a divorce, Melvin said. That's you taking my entire life. You had 2 lives, Paula said. One with her and one you were building at the lake. She's just collapsing them back into one, the one where you have nothing. Melvin turned to her furious. You did this. You brought that envelope. You could have had the cabin. We could have. You told me the cabin was a wedding gift for us, Paula said. Then I found her name in the trip photos on your phone. Same dock. Same summer, you recycle. That's all you do, you just recycle. The kitchen went quiet. Even Melvin didn't have a lie ready for that one. I sat with the deed under my hand a moment longer. The dock. The photo. He'd taken us both to the same lake and told us both the same sentence about growing old. He didn't even write new material. Melvin tried one more door. He turned to Paula, softer now, the charming voice back. Paula, listen, forget the envelope. The cabin can still be ours. I'll put your name on it today. You and me. Walk out of here with me right now. Paula stared at him. You're offering me the cabin, in front of your wife, using the same words you used at the dock. I mean it this time. You said that at the dock too, apparently, Paula said. She turned to me. He does have a tell. When he lies, he touches his watch. Watch him now. Melvin's hand was on his watch. He saw us both looking and dropped it like it burned him. That's not, I don't have a tell, he said, and touched it again. You just did it twice, I said. Keep going, Frances is still recording. He turned on me. You've poisoned her against me. She was on my side an hour ago. She was never on your side, I said. She was on the side of the story you sold her. Then she read the fine print. That's not poison. That's just literacy. Paula pulled her phone out. You want to talk about sides? She played a voice memo. Melvin's voice filled the kitchen. She'll sign whatever I put in front of her. Jean doesn't read the accounts. She never has. By the time she notices, we'll be at the lake. The memo ended. The room was silent. He said that to me 3 weeks ago, Paula said. I recorded it because even then something felt wrong. I don't read the accounts. That's what he thinks of you. I looked at Melvin. He was staring at the table. Thank you, Paula, I said. I read every account for 11 weeks. Turns out I read them just fine. You had no right to record me either, Melvin said to Paula, grasping. I asked her once if that recording bothered her, I said. She said you opened our engagement wine for her in another woman's garden. She wasn't bothered. Neither am I. Frances tapped the deed. Clock's running, Melvin. 2 women in this kitchen have recordings of you. Your firm suspended you. Your lawyer walked. Sign, or Jean files everything at the county office and adds the forgery on top. Frances, I said, add the cabin to the transfer and the hidden account, all of it. She was already writing. Melvin, here's the language. You sign a full transfer of the primary residence, the lake property, and the private account, plus a note repaying the estate loan from your remaining share. In exchange, this stays a divorce and not a criminal case. That's the whole offer. It expires when I stand up. She placed the pen on top of the deed. Melvin looked at the pen, he looked at me, he looked at Paula, who did not look back. If I sign this, I have nothing, he said quietly. No house, no cabin, no savings, no firm, nothing. You had all of that an hour ago, I said. You still had all of it at midnight when you opened the 2001. You spent it on a bottle of wine and a stranger in my garden. Sign. His hand moved toward the pen. Then his phone buzzed on the table, face up. A new text lit the screen where all three of us could read it. It was from a number saved as M, not Paula. Not me, someone else. The preview read, "Did you tell her about us yet? You promised you'd tell her this week. Miss you at the lake." Paula read it upside down at the same second I did. Her face went white. "Who is M?" Paula said slowly. "Melvin, who is M?" Melvin grabbed the phone and turned it face down, but it was too late. All three of us had seen it. There was a third one. There had been the whole time, and she had a key to the lake house too. "Who is M?" Paula said again. She stepped into the kitchen. "Turn the phone over, Melvin." He kept his hand flat on it. "It's a work contact." "A work contact who misses you at the lake," I said. "At the cabin you own alone. Turn it over." He didn't, so I reached across and turned it over myself. He grabbed my wrist. Frances stood up. "Let go of her hand," Frances said. Her voice didn't rise. It didn't need to. He let go. The phone was face up now. 3 more texts had come in, all from M, all about the lake. One had a photo, the same dock, a different woman on it, holding a set of keys, smiling at the camera. Paula made a small sound. "That's the dock from the trip photos. That's where he took me." "That's where he took me too," I said. 3 summers ago. He held my hand right there and said he couldn't imagine growing old anywhere else. Paula looked at the photo, then at me. "He said the exact same thing to me, on that exact dock." "He recycles," I said. "You told me that last night. You were right." Melvin snatched the phone and shoved it in his pocket. "You're both blowing this up. M is nobody. It's over with her." "When did it end?" I said. "Months ago." "The text says you promised to tell your wife about her this week." I let that sit. "That's not months ago, Melvin. That's Tuesday." He had nothing. Frances laid 3 documents on the table, side by side, and read them out loud, 1 finger on each. "The house deed, both names, frozen at 8 this morning." She tapped the second. "The lake cabin, your name, bought in cash, hidden 3 years." She tapped the third. "The private account, $340,000, siphoned in sub-reporting transfers since before either of these women knew your name." She looked up. 3 properties of evidence, 1 forged signature, 2 recordings, a suspended license. "Tell me, Melvin, what exactly are you still fighting for?" Melvin's face finally cracked. The charming voice, the angry voice, the pleading voice, all of them ran out at once. "I made mistakes," he said. "Okay, I made mistakes, but you don't get to take everything. I worked for 30 years. "You worked for 30 years and hid a cabin for 3 of them," I said. "You worked for 30 years and forged my name 14 months ago. You worked for 30 years and opened our engagement wine for a stranger last night while you had a third woman waiting at the lake." "Jean." "I read the accounts," I said. "You told Paula I never would. I read every line. And every line led here to you at my kitchen table with nothing left to sign but the truth." Paula picked up her purse. At the door she stopped and set her key to the cabin on the counter. "He gave me a key too," she said. "I don't want it. I don't want any part of what he built by lying to 3 women at once." She looked at me. "You should keep the cabin. You earned it more than any of us. He owes you 3 summers of the truth." Then Paula was gone. The door clicked shut behind her for the last time. It was just Melvin, Frances, and me, and 3 documents on the table. Then his phone rang. M again. He silenced it. It rang a second time. He silenced it again. "Answer it," I said. "On speaker. Let's all meet him." "No." I picked up my own phone and dialed the number from the screen he'd left face up too long. It rang in his pocket a third time. He flinched. "She's going to keep calling," I said. "You promised to tell your wife this week. It's this week, so tell her I'm right here." Francis leaned in, or I call her as opposing counsel and ask what he promised her at the lake. "Your choice, Melvin." He answered it on speaker. His hand shook. A woman's voice came through, sharp and impatient. "Melvin, finally, are we still closing on the second cabin lot Friday? You said the deposit cleared." The kitchen went dead quiet. "There's a second lot," I said. "A deposit. Francis, are you writing this down?" "Every word," Francis said. "Melvin," the voice said. "Who's there? Is someone there?" "His wife," I said. "And his lawyer. And a stack of documents he's about to sign that hand me the first cabin. That deposit on Friday's lot came off a maxed credit line. And the credit line is in my name, not his. You're buying a cabin with my debt." The line went silent, then it went dead. She'd hung up. Melvin lowered the phone. There was no charm left, no anger, just a man watching every lie fall down at once. "There was a second cabin," I said. "You were buying a second one. While you told me we couldn't afford the first. While you had Paula on one dock and her on another." "Please stop," he said. "Sign," I said. "The house, the cabin, the account. My father's loan repaid from your share. Or Francis files the forgery and the siphoning at the county office, and you explain the subreporting transfers to a federal agent instead of a divorce judge." Melvin looked at the pen. His hand was shaking so hard he could barely pick it up. "If I don't sign." "Then you keep nothing anyway, and you add handcuffs," Francis said. "Signing is the mercy. Take it." He picked up the pen. He held it over the deed to the house first. 19 years, he said, one more time. "You should have thought of that at 11:40 last night," I said, "when you picked the 2001. He signed the house, then the cabin, then the account, then the note repaying my father's $200,000 to his estate, in full from whatever was left of his share. Frances witnessed each one. She dated them. She photographed them. She sent copies to 3 places before Melvin had even set the pen down. "Done," she said. "It's filed. As of 8:24 this morning, the house, the cabin, and the account are hers. The estate loan is repaid. And the forgery stays out of the DA's office, exactly as promised." Melvin sat there, staring at his own signature on 4 documents that emptied his life. "Where do I go?" he said. Not to me, to the room. "You have a bag of watches," I said. "You had a third woman at the lake. Start there." He stood up slowly. He looked around the kitchen like he was seeing it for the last time, because he was. "You planned all of this," he said. "Every step. You had it ready before I even sat down." "I had 11 weeks," I said. "You gave me every one of them, now give me your key." He put his house key on the counter next to Paula's cabin key. 2 keys, both mine now. He walked to the door. At the threshold he turned around. "You'll regret this," he said. "One day you'll be alone in this house, and you'll regret it." "I've been alone in this house for 3 summers, I said. "I just didn't know it. Goodbye, Melvin." He walked out. His car started. The headlights swung down the driveway and turned onto the road and were gone. Frances gathered the signed documents into her folder. "It's over," she said. "You did it. You held the line all night and you did it." "Not yet," I said. I picked up my phone. "What's left?" "One thing," I said. "There's a notification I've been saving." He toasted to a future last night that he thought was already his. I want him to get the news the same way I did. On a screen, alone, at dawn. Frances raised an eyebrow. "What notification?" I turned my phone so she could see the message I'd typed but not yet sent. My thumb hovered over the button. "The last one," I said. "Come back at sunrise tomorrow. I want a witness when I send it." Frances came back at 5:40 the next morning. The sky over the garden was just going gray. I made 2 coffees. We stood at the kitchen window where I could see the fountain and the table and the spot in the grass where the 2001 had spent the night. "You sure about this?" Frances asked. "You've already won. The papers are filed." He toasted to a future on a screen he thought was his, I said. "I want him to lose it on a screen too. At dawn, same as I watched him." My phone was in my hand, the message was typed. My thumb was over the button, then a car turned into the driveway. Melvin, of course. He'd come to try one more door before the sun was fully up. He came to the back gate, the one to the garden, and stopped. He couldn't come in. Francis had changed the locks at noon the day before. New locks by 1, that was that. He stood at the gate in the gray light. I opened the kitchen door and stepped out into my garden. "Jean," he said through the bars, "I need the cabin, just the cabin. Leave me the cabin and I'll disappear. You'll never hear from me again." "You bought that cabin 2 months before you took me to that lake," I said. "You held my hand on the dock and lied to my face." "No." "Then the account, half of it, I have nowhere to go." "You had a second cabin lot closing on Friday," I said. "You had you had Paula, you had 3 futures. You just didn't have one that included your wife." "No." He gripped the gate. "You can't leave me with nothing." "I didn't," I said. "You did. At 11:40 with the 2001. I just kept the receipt." Frances stepped out beside me with the folder. "Everything's filed and witnessed," she told him. "The house, the cabin, the account, all hers. The estate loan repaid from your share. Contest any of it and the forged agreement goes to the district attorney the same afternoon. You know this. You signed it." He looked at me through the gate. The sun broke over the hedge and hit his face. "What are you holding?" he said. "What's on the phone?" "One notification," I said. "You wanted to know what I did all night while you drank." Francis set a single bank alert to fire the second your access closed. "It's about to close. Watch your phone." I pressed send. His phone buzzed once. One message. The bank alert, scheduled for the moment the last transfer cleared and his login died. He pulled the phone out with a shaking hand and read it standing at the gate of a garden he no longer owned. "Balance available to you," he read aloud, barely a whisper. "0. Access revoked." "That's the one," I said. "That's the notification. Now you know what it feels like to get the news on a screen at dawn, alone." He looked up at me. "How long did you know?" 11 weeks, I said. "Since the day I found the second phone behind your golf bag. I didn't scream then either. I made a folder." 11 weeks. He said it like it hurt. "You sat across from me at breakfast for 11 weeks. You sat across from me for 14 months with my forged name in your files," I said. "I win the sitting contest." "I could have told you," he said. "If you'd asked, if you just talked to me." "I did talk to you, at the lake. You told me we couldn't afford a place while you already owned one." I stepped closer to the gate. "Don't rewrite it. I have the receipts. I always had the receipts." He looked at the phone in his hand one more time, at the word 0 on the screen, and something in him finally gave up. He stood there in the new sunlight with a dead phone and a bag of watches in his car. There was nothing left to say, and he knew it. He turned and walked back down the driveway. This time, I didn't watch him go. I turned around and looked at my garden instead. Here is what happened to everyone. Paula sold the $11,000 ring and kept the $900 she got for it. She sent me one text a week later. It said only, "Thank you for turning on the light." I never heard from her again. Whoever she was, pulled out of the second cabin lot when she learned the deposit had come from a maxed credit line in my name. She lost her earnest money. She learned about Melvin the same way Paula and I did, in documents. The firm terminated Melvin's partnership and reported the forged agreement to the state bar. His license went under review by the end of the month. The partners sent me a fruit basket, which I found funny, and then ate. My father's $200,000 went back to his estate, exactly as his check had always said it should. I drove the repayment confirmation to his grave and left it under a rock. He'd costed that loan in his brown cardigan and told Melvin to treat me right. It only took 19 years, but the ledger finally balanced. I kept the house. I kept the account. And I kept the cabin at the lake. I drove up there the following weekend. I walked out to the end of the dock where he'd held my hand 3 summers ago and told me he couldn't imagine growing old anywhere else. He showed up on the second morning. I was on the dock with my coffee when his car pulled onto the gravel. He got out slowly. He'd lost weight since I saw him last. His watch was gone from his wrist. Sold, probably. "You can't be here," I said. "This is my property now. You signed it." "I helped pick this lot," he said. "I stood right there and chose it." "You chose it in secret, in your name, with money you hid from me. Then you signed it to me at my kitchen table. Leave." He didn't. He walked out onto the dock. So I set my coffee down and pulled a folded paper from my jacket. "I had a feeling you'd come," I said. So I got this yesterday. It was a trespass notice, county letterhead, his name on it, the cabin address on it. Francis filed it the day the deed cleared, I said. You set 1 foot past that gate again and the sheriff comes. Not a divorce judge this time, a deputy. He read it, his shoulders dropped that same inch they'd dropped at the kitchen table the night his lawyer walked. You thought of everything, he said. I had 11 weeks and then I had one more, I said. You gave me all of them, now get off my dock. He turned and walked back to his car. The gravel crunched, the engine started. And the man who once held my hand on that dock drove away from it for the last time, on a piece of paper with his own signature at the bottom. I finished my coffee where he'd stood. He was right about one thing. Someone was going to grow old there. It just wasn't going to be with him. Francis and I opened a bottle on the dock that evening. Not the 2001. That one I'd poured down the drain the morning he left, so it could never mean anything to anyone again. We opened something new instead. Something I bought myself with my own money in my own name. The last time I stood on a balcony watching that man in a garden, I was in the dark and he didn't know I was there. He held all the cards and I held a phone with a red recording light. Now I stand in that garden in full sun. The gate locks with a key only I hold. The fountain runs for me. The 2001 is gone down the drain, and so is he. He thought silence meant I hadn't noticed. Silence just meant I was already writing it all down. Stories like this one leave a few quiet truths behind. That silence isn't weakness. Sometimes it's the sound of someone reading every line before they answer. That the people who lie the loudest are usually the ones hiding the most on paper. And that walking away composed beats screaming every time because paperwork outlasts a fight. The ones who underestimate you always hand you the receipts themselves. Have you ever stayed quiet on purpose while you were already writing the whole thing down? If you enjoyed this story, hit like and subscribe, and we'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments.